time to tantalize your earbuds with creative makers and shakers. It's Creative Living, the podcast with Jane Klaus.
This is Creative Living, the podcast, and I'm Jane Klaus. Now, I'm a lifelong maker. As you all know, I'm passionate about the arts and creativity. It's literally just part of who I am. In fact, I love it so much. I was one of the first people on television promoting this massive makers movement that is now sweeping the nation. And my guest today is right there along with me. She is a producer, an editor, a content creator. Marcy Hamilton is also the creator of Made It Myself TV on Vizio. Marcy, you can imagine that I have been waiting for a channel like this my entire life. Thank you.
Me too.
Now, are you a maker?
Oh, of course. I started when I was like 2 years old, knitting and crocheting, and then calligraphy, and then painting and photography, everything, all of it. I love it.
I love it. All right. So you totally get it from the media side of things.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an award-winning producer, you're an editor, film, television distributor. Now I understand because you are also creative and you're a maker. But what made you dive into this realm of creative television?
Well, having, loving the crafts and being so involved in distributing film and TV shows worldwide, they just sort of merged together. And there was no other place to go. So it's like creating a candy store of all your favorite things that you can just pluck out here and there. So
I know it. There's nowhere to go. I mean, so we have Etsy to buy things and we can sell things. We've got HGTV, but that's like tearing down walls and getting inspired to remake a house. That changed a little. DIY channel, definitely not crafting and arts and things like that. YouTube we can watch for a really long time. But explain to us what Made It Myself TV is.
Okay, it is a place where you can turn on you can look at the app and watch different shows and learn a craft like knitting. You can learn how to knit and go backwards and forwards until you've really gotten it. Or you can turn it on and watch photography or mudlarking. Do you know what that is?
Mudlarking? I don't know what it is.
Mudlarking is when you go to a riverbed or a shoreline.
Oh, yeah.
And you dig out coins or stones or whatever. Anyway, you can go to these watch these shows. You can either sit back and be inspired or learn, but in some way entertain and educate by yourself, with your spouse, your partner, your family, whatever. It's not a kiddie channel. It's not water paint, hand painting, or whatever you call that. It's not that. It is for the serious crafter in all of us, just to have fun and be inspired.
I love it. Because a lot of things are geared towards kids, and I think it's great. And absolutely, we need to infuse arts and crafts into their lives because we want that to be a part of their life forever. My entire career is spent on radio and TV, but always this little desire to inspire people to create. And most of the time it's people who already don't create, because I want them to understand that a little bit of creativity goes a long way. It's an immunity boost. It's a wellness boost. Maybe they're getting inspired, and you can't make a mistake because it's creativity. So this channel will do that for us, right?
Yeah. Actually that sort of gives me an idea for a show, which is let's create something from our mistakes. Something like I was teaching someone, my niece, about a year ago, how to do digital art. And I was showing her how to start with like a scribble and then start pushing out the boundaries and coloring it and, having fun molding it and sculpting it. And then in the end, you've got something that you're just really thrilled with.
I always say too, in the end, it's that sense of satisfaction you get when you made it yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. Made It Myself TV.
Made It Myself TV. Yeah. So I'm a sewist. I love to upcycle old clothes and turn them into something new. Listen, I'm great at a fabric store. I'll grab all the fabric I can and make whatever. But when I make a gown, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to make that. And I make it today and I wear it tonight. And it's like, what am I doing? This is just too much work. I could just buy this thing. But the point is I get to that party or the event or whatever it is. And it says, oh, I love your shirt. I love your gown. And I say, I made it myself. And
Yeah.
that's what I want other people to understand, how great that feeling is.
Right. And also, and I know you know this, but a lot of other people may not, it really takes away stress when you're using those kinds of creative energy and juices. The stress just sort of falls away. I call it the antidote, to stress, all of the crafting.
They say it really and truly, crafting and creativity will give you a 60% immunity boost towards your health and wellness. And I believe that's because you get into flow, like especially with with knitting, painting, you're just, pottery, you're in flow, and that will then lower, your high vibration stress level, and you just calm down. And that's a thing that people talked a lot before the pandemic. During the pandemic, hello, everybody's at home. What are we going to do today? And I think at that point, people sort of decided to find their sewing machines or their paintbrushes, and they decided to try being creative because they had a lot more time on their hands. So they've seen Etsy since 2005. They thought about maybe being creative. This gave them the opportunity to be creative. So I feel like now everybody has a creative side hustle. Did you see that trend? Did that create the need for a show like this?
Did that create? Well, I'll tell you what. In going on to YouTube or TikTok, and there's a lot of creative stuff like that. But you know what? There's so much. You have to weed through so much, which for me called the need for Made It Myself TV, because this is a place where we're curating for everybody, right? We're curating the best of the best, the masters of their art. So that when you go there, it's going to be terrific. And it's not like, you can be 10 minutes into a YouTube thing and go, "Oy, what is this person doing? I've sort of wasted this time." Or maybe, you know what I mean? And TikTok is fun, but some of them are like silly stuff,
Yeah.
So
you're not really learning.
Right.
You're learning-ish. It's too quick to actually learn it. And sometimes I think YouTube is just a little bit too long and not produced enough, if you will, friend who loves to edit and put together shows. If you're watching something that's poor lighting, sometimes I'll look and I'll go, oh, that's a great idea. And then I figure it out. But I want to watch a show that is actually showing me what to do, the how-tos. Are the shows on Made It Myself TV, how long are they? Who are these experts that you're getting that we can watch?
Well, some of them are shorter, just a few minutes long. For instance, Tamara Kelly from Crochet with Moogly, she's a crochet expert. She might be showing you one little slip knot. And maybe that's only a minute or 2 minutes long, but that's the luxury of having our own channel. We're not bound by 30-minute shows. We can put, 3 or 4 2-minute ones together, all different lengths, doesn't matter, just as long as it's good, entertaining, inspiring, and gets the point across.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, the funny thing too is that, we're searching the internet, all around the world, BBC, Australian broadcasts, China, wherever. We're searching out the great shows. And I found happens to be a friend of mine. Her name is Zhenya Gershman. And Zhenya is just a masterful painter. She was an artist in residence at the Getty Center.
Wow. So imagine. High level.
Yeah, exactly. She has a show that's on Facebook, and it is so wonderful. It's called Invisible Museum Tours, and she goes into the museum at the Getty. They allow her to film there, and she talks about the pieces of art and what goes into it. The first one's on Rembrandt, but having Zhenya, who's just so clued into that art and learning about it from her. So that's what we want to curate, interesting, inspiring things in art and in crafts.
And it's content 24/7?
Yeah, 24/7. Yeah.
And you're up and running as of a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and you're running. So you're 24/7 content all the time. So if we turn it
Yeah.
on Vizio
We
television.
we started on Vizio. We
Mhm.
have a really good relationship with them. So we said, okay, we'll start with you. You can have it the first 3 weeks exclusively.
Oh,
And then we go wide. I think it's around March 1st, and we go to Samsung, LG, Roku, Amazon, iOS, iPhones, Philips, and the website, madeitmyselftv.com. That was
amazing.
at that point.
I mean,
Yeah.
you literally can get it anywhere. You are
Yeah.
reaching the masses. And again, we're talking to the people who already love to make because you get inspired by other makers, but you're
Yeah.
also out there on broadcast, meaning it's a broadcast. Anybody with a TV or with an app or internet connection can watch. And that's
Or
where we
or
can
so
inspire. Or a cell
exactly.
phone. Right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the goal is to obviously educate, entertain, and inspire.
Yeah. That's it.
And
That's
I
it.
love this too because listen, I've been at this game a long time with this whole crafting thing. And people are like, crafting's like your grandma making a Kleenex box out of tissue or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not that anymore. So tell
Mm.
us, it's if it's not your grandma knitting, in the sitting at home watching her soap operas all day, we're reaching millennials, we're reaching Gen Zs. Are you seeing that so far?
Oh, absolutely. And they like certain things. So we're definitely keying in on what they like. And that's the great thing too about the technology. We can look at the data and see what are people watching, what are they enjoying, and let's get more of that. So that's fun. Or starting something new, bringing something that's ancient. Like we have this unbelievable artist. I hope I don't mess up her name. Lynn Mai Truong. Okay. She is now this is the hard part, Suminagashi artist, which I had never heard of. But
Me
it's like
neither.
this tray of liquid, whatever the liquid is, I don't
Uh-huh.
know. And she drops into it ink or paint and then blows on it or
Oh
puts
yeah.
feather across it and comes up with this. And she creates the music also that goes with it.
Wow.
And so you can just sit back and just zen out on that. But at the end, you can put a piece of silk or paper in and pick the whole thing up so it sticks to the paper. I was thinking making scarves from it.
100%. My mind is racing right now. I want to do that, put it onto fabric, and then make a pillow out of it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's great.
Exactly.
And that's exactly the point because you're watching this, and people who make are like, "What can I make?" And people who are not makers, like, "I'm going to try that. I've got paint here at the house."
And we've got male and female oriented stuff. We have the Wood Whisperer, and his name is Mark Spagnuolo. And he's got hundreds of hours of just fabulous, making things in wood, big things, little things, you name it. Great workshop, just a lot of fun to watch. And we're trying to bring in other crafts as well. If anybody out there knows some crafts that should be on Made It Myself TV, please reach out to me. Contact
I think I know a few people that might be a great fit for your channel. So we'll
Yeah.
talk about that after the
You should be on
podcast.
the channel.
I should be on the channel. Actually, I love to upcycle clothes. We'll talk about that. Because honestly, I'm a sewist and a maker who just parades around as a media personality, really and truly. Because all I want to do is make things all day. I wake up every day and I'm like, if I could just make something today, how much greater would my life be? But I'm also this person that's been parading around as a media personality, trying to pitch a creative DIY crafting show to any of the networks or anybody who will listen. How hard was it for you to find a home for this content and this channel?
You know what? Funny thing is, when I would mention it, because we had, as I said, we distribute film and TV, and about 2-3 years ago, we thought, let's get out of the traditional area. I mean, not get out. We still do that. I just mentioned to you, I got back from Berlin yesterday at a big film festival. But about 3 years ago, we thought, let's jump into this new world of apps and fast channels, which is free advertiser streaming television.
Mhm.
And we started a channel called Dark Matter TV, which is like the opposite of what this is.
Right.
It's scary movies and sci-fi, horror, etc. So we started that, and that was a real. It's like the Wild West. This whole area of apps and fast channels. So we were
Right.
able to go there and open that up. And then last year, when I started reaching out to those same CTVs, connected TV owners,
Mhm.
and said, "Hey, how about a craft channel?" They all said yes immediately. And so
That's
we're the first one. There is no other one.
I mean, you're right. There is no other one because I look for those because I see it on my television. And sometimes there's like a little button that says arts and crafts, but it's really not a
Kitty.
channel.
It's a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
kitty
kitty.
stuff. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Kitty stuff that you're using
Yeah.
like tongue depressors and just finger paints. And I
Yeah.
want to dive in and do the painting, the swirly painting like you were talking about with
Yeah.
that woman, and
Really
then the
watch it.
woodworker.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this
It
is great. So when we talk about
Mhm.
millennials or Gen Zers sort of
Mhm.
remembering what it's like to get hands-on, are there trends? And do you stick to the trends, or can we just go old-fashioned needle pointing, crocheting,
Oh,
sewing?
all of that is coming back. It's like a whole rediscovery by the millennials. And I've heard a statistic recently that of all the crafters, 41% of them are millennials. So that's a big chunk. But we thought that it was more female leading, but guess what? It's really evenly divided, male
Mhm,
and female.
mhm.
And that's also, it's a great thing to do together, as you know. I'm like preaching to the choir here, but
I
that's
know, but
so
we have
true.
millions of people listening to us right now. So what we're trying to do is get them inspired to continue making whatever it is they make or try
Yeah.
something else and watch your channel to get inspired by those people. But like you said, it's interesting because it's not just female. There's men that are amazing creators. And we know this throughout history. There's
Mhm.
fantastic artists and creators. I do a show called Craft Room Crash where I knock on the door of crafters and creative people and makers, and I go in and we make something together. And for
Oh,
a while, yeah, so I mean,
mm,
let me just give you the list of those people because they all need to be on your channel. But
great.
they're making amazing things. And part of the
Mhm.
reason why I wanted to do it is I wanted to take a peek inside their craft room and see what it looks like and what
Mm,
tools do they need to get the craft done. Is
mm.
is there any tool that you've seen from any of your guests that's new and different? Anything obscure?
That's a really good question.
Well, like, I met a guy we all know what a lathe is, but he was
Yeah.
making wooden wine glasses, and so
Oh,
it's like taking a peek inside their head
uh,
and finding out what makes them tick, and I feel like now we weren't learning how to make it, they were showing us how to make it, but
yeah,
here on Made It Myself TV, we're learning, they're telling you, "This is what you do next."
yeah, yeah. And sometimes we just watch them do it with a great music track over it. Sometimes you don't need words,
So
you know.
if you will know, and a lot of, I think too, if you're creative, you're gonna make something. Sometimes you could just watch and kind of pick it up on your own, and
Yeah,
that could be just like a cool vibe anyway if you have that on TV.
yeah, that's right.
One of the things you talked about, different trends, and we talked about some really unusual crafts. Butter carving, that's a craft.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're actually going after someone that does a butter sculptures.
Yeah.
So, same thing.
Well, I
And
mean,
then
they're winning
yeah,
big first prizes at all the art fairs and all the county fairs.
yeah, and ice sculpting and sand castles, building. There's just so many out there. We thought when we started we'd have a list, oh, maybe 20 or 30. Honestly, that list is just giant now. Things that you could just never even imagine.
And
It's
it's a
exciting.
great way to get the craft out there.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's exciting.
You talked about it's not kitty. We talked about it being men and women who are creative.
Mhm.
We say, okay, well, this is a great idea to do for family activity. What about dating?
Oh, definitely. First, there's the making it for your boyfriend and girlfriend, or they're making it with your boyfriend and girlfriend. And we don't have a show specifically on that, but I think that would be a really interesting thing. Guidelines of how to do it together, and projects maybe or maybe even a competition show.
I was thinking it could be like you're on a date and you're both challenged with making blank. So the guy makes it, the girl makes it, and
I love that.
you're watching to see how they do it, and they come out differently every time.
Yeah. Or they could be a team and see
Yeah.
what the masculine and the feminine, or it's just, the two different people bring together. We have two competition shows. One is being built by a fantastic sewer, Angela Wolf. I don't know if you know her.
I know her very well.
I love her.
Yes.
We have her whole line of So Easy, but she's creating a new show just for us, an original called Fabric to Fashion. And it's a competition where she gives a mystery box of stuff, materials and stuff, to like 2 or 3 different fashion designers. And over the course of the show, they have to build their new design. And in the end, whoever wins or whatever. So
I think it's great. She's talked about the show many times. She's actually been on the podcast before because she's a really good friend, and she's the best of the best. So when it comes to sewing, but I'm excited that the show is going to be on Made It Myself TV.
Yes.
Or Angela's show is one of the shows on Made It Myself TV.
Yes.
When does that launch? I'll have to have her back on so we can talk about it.
Well, the So Easy is on there now,
right?
And she hasn't quite finished Fabric to Fashion, so I'm thinking in spring. We're both thinking in spring it may be ready to debut.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And then we have another competition game show from the BBC in the UK, and it's 3 sets of couples. Mother, daughter, male, female, male, whatever it is. And they all have to figure out which antiques are the most valuable and which are trash. And so it's kind of like an antique roadshow, only a competition to see who gets it right.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. I love the idea of taking something old and turning it into something new, not just clothing, because I love to do that because I fall into that world. But I'll find pipe cleaner. You could see because we're looking at each other, but see those candelabras behind me? It's a candlestick, and it's pipe cleaners, and it's dishes, and I love to make tablescapes. So when I go to thrift stores, I'll look for things that I can turn into something else.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to
it's hard to throw things out, huh?
I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. You just have to.
A t-shirt. Let's see. I could rip up that t-shirt and then knit with it, or make a rag rug of it, or oh my gosh,
it's never ending. I wish we all had more time to be making all day. But I love talking about it, and I love that more and more people are getting interested in it. And I more so love the fact that you have a show that's all about crafting and making. Made It Myself TV. So far, what has the response been? Are you able to gauge?
Well, what I can tell you is that, because I have a little comparison of our other channel, Dark Matter TV, to this. And when people watch movies, sometimes very often they'll go to a movie channel, they'll watch the whole thing through, but lots of times they'll just watch a few minutes of this, a few minutes of that. People are sticking with the whole show on Made It Myself TV. Their watch times are really long. And so I'm very excited about that too.
Well, good. That means there's so many more people that are excited about this, and it's going to continue to grow, and who knows where this is going to go. I love it. So right now we can get it on Vizio. Tell us where everybody else can find it, going forward.
Okay. Thank you. You can go to madeitmyselftv.com, sign up for the newsletter, and just give us your email, and then we will tell you. We'll, announce when we launch on all of these other platforms, Roku or Fire Stick or whatever, wherever it is. And or right now you can go on to Vizio in the Smartcast section where they have all the apps. That's where we are in lifestyle.
Perfect. And then soon to take over the world.
Yes, absolutely. We were just invited to go to Italy and Spain to start airing there. So later in the year, Italy, Spain, Mexico, and Brazil, we've been invited.
Oh my goodness, this is great. I would say continued success, but you're already on the road to success. You are going to be doing this. Also, we can find you on Instagram,
Yes.
and that is Made It Myself TV.
Yes. I hope.
Yeah, well, because if you go to Instagram, you go to Made It Myself TV, you're going to see the intro to the Instagram page. It's Marcy.
Yes.
And she has got the most essential tool that all crafters and artists will want, and that's a coffee mug in her hand. Introducing the channel, introducing what you can see and what you can find on the app, on Instagram. So everybody needs to follow you on Instagram, Made It Myself TV. Watch on Vizio and all the other channels to come. Sign up for the newsletter.
Yes.
And we go to madeitmyselftv.com.
That's it.
It's great. Now let's talk quickly while we wrap this up. Your tagline is "Come with us on the journey and create the extraordinary."
Yes. You know, I didn't come up with that. One of our editors came up with it, and it was like the light just went on. I was so excited. Max Hoffman. Let me just get his name out there. Yeah. I thought, boy, that is just perfect. Yeah.
I love it. Marcy Hamilton, the creator of Made It Myself TV. Thank you for putting a channel like this on television for all of us.
Thank you, Jane. And let's talk later. I want you on it too.
You got it. You got it. All right. Thanks so much to Marcy for continuing this makers movement and making it grow. And thanks for joining us on Creative Living.
Live better creatively. For more inspiration, visit janeklaus.com. Thank you for listening.